Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I'm going to share with you my most used art supplies for the spring of 2023. I thought we'd just have a nice chill video today. I did have another video planned, but I recently fractured my toe, and that's kind of put me on like backpedal a little bit, and I need to catch up on some things because it's not in like a cast or anything because it's my little baby pinky toe. But goodness knows that little toe can hurt quite a lot. So I'm just going to do a chill video for today. And hopefully I'll be reviewing the Mia Haimi gouache soon. And the studio tour is very close by. I'm actually going to start filming it soon as my toe's feeling a little bit better. So that's that. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. We do all sorts of we do all sorts of art content here on the channel. Art supply hauls, studio tour kind of things like I'm showing you my supplies now. Tips, tricks, tutorials, paint with me's, whatever really strikes my fancy that week, honestly. Yeah. My brain just focused on my glasses. They're new, and I have to get used to the fact that I have to keep bumping them up because they're a little bit heavier with the prism in it now. So I'm like, I gotta keep doing that. It's driving me crazy. But I'll get used to it. But yeah, if you want to leave a comment down below, what supplies did you use most this past spring? And give the video a thumbs up to help support the channel. It really helps. Real quick, considering my look is a little bit different, I've got red hair now. I tried to dye my hair teal, and it didn't work, and it was splotchy and looked awful. No matter what I did, it wouldn't fix itself. So I used color theory, of all things, to go the opposite of the color wheel towards like orangey red, and it neutralized it, and now I have one color hair, which is amazing. And it's red with a red shirt. We're having a red day. I'm feeling the red today. I guess what else updates? We've got the studio tour coming very soon. I'm going to start recording that probably next week and get editing that. It'll be my first time doing something kind of vloggy like, so bear with me. I'm going to try to do my best. And I think next week's video is probably going to be on the Mia Haimi gouache. We'll see what happens, but that's kind of the goal right now. But I think that's enough about updates here. Let's get on into the supplies, shall we? Okay, so this is my bin of supplies I collected of all the supplies I've mostly been using this spring. It's not all the supplies, but it's the one I kept going back to. So I thought I would share them with you. So let's set this off to the side, and I'll just pick stuff out at random and start talking about it. So you guys have seen this before if you watched my 5 ways to fill your sketchbook video. This is my sketchbook, which I'm not going to go through really too much again, but I have been using this a lot more lately than I normally do, so I was going to talk about it a little bit. There's nothing new since the sketchbook video because I've been working on some other pieces, but I'm going to be using this very soon. And I've just been doing oil pastel, gouache, alcohol markers, colored pencil, you name it, it's in here. And I've just been having loads of fun sketching in this and doing practice pieces in this sketchbook. So I thought it should make the list. Now, speaking of surfaces, I have been drawn to the goodness, my words are hard today. Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor paper, both in cold press and in hot press. This has been my go-to watercolor paper simply because it's been sized 8x10, which is the size I'm going to be making my prints. So it's much easier for me to use pre-cut paper that's actually really nice. If I really want that textured feeling though for a piece, I do have a new paper which I will share with you in a future art haul, as well as my arches if I want to just cut it down to size or just size it smaller as I'm painting. But these two have been a go-to. I will show you kind of what's going on here. This is all mostly on hot press paper. But I finished this piece. It's up on Instagram if you want to take a better look at it. But I thought this would be lovely for prints, so I went ahead and did this painting, which we'll get into the paints that I use here in a minute. They're there in the bin, don't worry. But this is on the hot press, so it's got like that nice, really smooth texture. There's a little bit of colored pencil on there for some highlights and other colors, but for the most part, it's watercolor. So I have that, and then I have future pieces also ready to go when I have the time to do it. I have Nezuko from Demon Slayer ready to go, and I have Vegeta from Dragon Ball in watercolor. I saw that this particular design is from one of the cutout things where they like pause and it turns into this washed out kind of watercolor look, and I thought that would look great in, well, watercolor. So I have some of those pieces they're ready to go, and they're all on the Ready Cut hot press for whenever I do anime or manga or character design, stuff like that. I tend to gravitate towards the hot press, and when I'm doing other things like more nature and other more traditional subjects, I use the cold press. But either way, I have been using a ton of this paper that I've had to order more, and I'm going through it like crazy, and it's great. It's actually a great thing. Speaking of other like papers, I also have, I don't actually have a blank sheet of it because that's kind of boring, and I didn't want to take the whole, what is it called, a ream? The whole package of paper would be crazy. So here's a work in progress piece. If you see, I gotta finish the rest of the outfit here for Gojo here. This is the Hammermill Color Copy cover paper in, I want to say 80 pounds. 80-pound paper, so it's actually a really good one for alcohol markers of all things. I can also use this paper for prints if I want in a pinch, but for the most part I use it as alcohol marker paper. So I love that. I've got some other things ready to go. I've got Anya from Spy Family as a eventual peeker sticker. I got this piece of Power from Chainsaw Man that I'd like to do. She's looking really cool in that shot. She's fun. I love her. So I have that. So that about covers it for surfaces. The watercolors I've been using to do on the watercolor paper. Oh goodness! I was not expecting that to happen. Okay. My two watercolors that I've been using depend exactly on what I am painting. If I've been painting something more realistic, more traditional subject, I've actually been reaching for Da Vinci. I've been working on a butterfly and bloom set that I've been using solely in Da Vinci watercolors. That's been super fun. And then if I'm doing anime manga designs for future merch for Artist Alley, I'm using my Holbein paints, and that has been lovely. So Sailor Moon, though, well, I guess technically Usagi, she's actually done in the Holbein paints. So they look lovely. It was my first time doing a big piece with them. I'd only done little small tests. So it was my first time doing a big painting with them, and I am in love. They're the perfect look for that. So a Holbein, there's the paint residue, you can tell. I added a few colors. Oh, they cracked. Oh, that's unfortunate. I added a few colors to my palette. I've finally poured the white that came with the set. I got Brilliant Pink and the Juan John Brilliant 1. So I now have some extra skin tones. I got a pink that I don't have to mix myself, and white to help with opacity and lightly tinting things. It reminds me a lot of gouache, honestly, when I was using it. So super neat. We'll get to gouache in a moment, trust me. Back in the bin you go. And then of course, to the surprise of no one, my brush choice for the watercolor has been the Silver Black Velvet in 6. Oh goodness, I might have to clean this a little bit better. Feels a little rough, or maybe it's just this brush is finally dying, I don't know. But this is the 6th round. I have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I have an oval wash brush. I have a couple other script liners and stuff. So I just brought one over to talk about a little bit, because we've all heard me talk about silver brushes plenty, so I didn't want to go too crazy. Speaking of, I'm also using the silver whites. I didn't bring one over though. I've been using those for gouache, so more silver brush. Real quick to interject from other materials, this is my mechanical pencil that I use to sketch or draw. It is an Uni Gel HD in 0.5. I really love the color. It's a really great hefty chunky pencil. It's got this nice rubber grip. I'm going to run out of eraser on it soon, unfortunately, because it's got this cute little eraser on the bottom, or top, I guess, technically. But I'm going to run out of it soon, which is unfortunate because I really like it. But yeah, this is my mechanical pencil that I use all the time. Grabbing the gouache. I've been using this as highlights in paintings or just doing paintings in the gouache in general. This one I grabbed because I'd recently used it for Power's eyes in a piece. I don't like how the overall piece turned out because of her hair color was a little off to me, so I'm going to redo it. But I used this for the red in her eyes, so that was great. Outlining some artwork. I've actually been using polychromos, which I've just been using in general for coloring too, but in the Usagi piece, I didn't want a very dark outline, and I didn't have any gray fine liners at the time, so I used a polychromos colored pencil in, what is this, Cool Gray 1? Cool Gray 1, and that was the outline for Usagi, so it would be more delicate and pastel and didn't have harsh black lines. So I've been using these both in my traditional art as well as my character art. Of course, if I'm doing character art and they don't need soft lines, I have the Pigma Micron 05, which is a 0.45 millimeter line. This is like my go-to size where it's not too big and it's not too small. So I use that in the Gojo piece, except for his hair. His hair is actually lined with alcohol markers to give it that like almost luminous effect to it, so that's cool. And then I've been talking about alcohol markers this whole time, so let's finally talk about them. These are going to be his shirt colors, since it's technically not black, but I'm going to layer them with gray so they come down and are less saturated in purple. But this is V17 of a Copic marker, and this is P5 Aubergine for a Nahuhu marker. You guys have seen plenty of Copic sketch markers here on the channel. I've put them in art hauls, I've shown them off, I've talked about them as a good thing to get. They are like the go-to standard of alcohol marker, and the Sketch has the brush nib that I so covet and desire. So we know plenty about them, but I don't know if I've ever mentioned Ohuhu markers to you guys. I've had these now for years. I got my first set just before I had appendicitis in 2020, so I probably got the little full set that I had at the time in 2019, and then as a reward for suffering through appendicitis, my husband got me the skin tone set of Ohuhu markers, because I was trying to be affordable and frugal and not buy too many Copic markers, and specifically this one here is being used in the Gojo piece as the dark purple because I just don't have a Copic marker that will work. So I'm going to do this and layer it with a dark cool gray, and it becomes almost black, but it's still got that purple undertone that you need for his clothes. So yeah, Ohuhu markers, they're fun. Ohuhu markers are like one of the many knockoff Copic markers that you could, at the time, you could get on Amazon. And unlike other knockoffs that are pretty cruddy and we don't like them and they're splotchy and the ink's kind of meh, Ohuhu markers are actually pretty top notch. They are an amazing marker. What sets them apart from other knockoffs usually is they actually have a brush nib here. So they're good. The ink quality is good. It doesn't come out splotchy or anything like that. They're really a top competitor to Copic, and they've grown since then. They have their own website. They offer different sets. They offer different colors. They offer these big sets. Usually their prices round out, used to be about 50 cents a marker, which is way less than a Copic, but it probably is more now with price increases, so I would have to check that and verify it. I would say the only problem I have with Ohuhu markers is their color naming system is all over the place. Maybe they fixed that since I got my set, but yeah, the color naming is all over the place. You just got to figure out yourself. And I used to say that also you can't refill them, but they've actually, I believe, rectified that, and they're coming out. I think either just came out or very soon they're coming out with ink refills for their hoo markers, which is amazing. I'm actually really glad to see them grow and be a nice competitor to Copic, because sometimes you just need a different color, like in this case. But yeah, I'd say that's about all the stuff I've really been using in spring. I've used a few other things. I did a charcoal sketch. I did stuff from the Paletful Packs and Art Snacks boxes using things like pastels, but I didn't really do more than like say 1 or 2 pieces with that. These are the ones I've been going back and forth and using them over and over and over again multiple times. So they're the reason I said that they are my favorite supplies of spring. I'm curious to see what's going to be my most used supplies for in September, when we roll over into fall finally, which I cannot wait for. It might be the first day of summer here, but goodness, it's already been over 100 for days. So heat is here. It sucks. So I cannot wait for fall. So I'm definitely very curious to see what my supplies will be then. Probably a lot of them will be similar. Like I imagine the Copic markers will be similar. I imagine the paper and the Holbein watercolors in particular will be similar. But hopefully I branch out and use some other things and get to show you guys more supplies here that I like to use. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Like I said, comment down below, what did you use a lot this past spring? I'd be curious to compare to what I've used a lot. Are you working towards any big goals? Like I'm working towards an artist alley appearance and stuff like that. So if you've got some big art goals, I'd love to hear them. Really just load up the comments. Tell me how your day is. I love it. And remember to give the video a thumbs up, especially if you made it this far, because it really helps support the channel and I greatly, greatly appreciate it, guys. But yeah, I guess that about wraps things up. So take care, have a good one, and bye for now.